anyone could talk about was the victory gala and Hermione Granger's return. Harry read through the paper where it seemed that opinions were divided. Some people were happy that Hermione is back, others not so much. A headline on the paper read, Harry chuckled lightly. When Harry took this position, it was people who had asked for it. But when their wishes were fulfilled, they criticized it a lot. And Ron never let Harry read any paper about him. Harry was conflicted, he wanted to leave, but after what Kingsley had said, that meant people still need him, right? Why else would they want him here for good? Ron asked, seeing Harry's worried expression. Harry was about to tell him it's fine, but he remembered what Ron had said to him after Bill's party. Harry then confided in Ron, telling him about how Kingsley mentioned a permanent role as head Auror, and what everyone else thinks about it. What worries him regarding this job, how lost he feels in what he should do. Harry was surprised. Ron never said Voldemort's name before. Harry slowly nodded. Perhaps there was truth to Ron's words. Yet something cold and heavy inside Harry resisted those words. Harry walked out of his office, and surprisingly, no reporters were there. He walked towards the gates of the ministry and saw why. It seemed Hermione had taken Harry's place as the newest person of interest. She was surrounded by journalists and reporters. She was running away them, but they were following right behind her. Harry smiled as he ran after the bunch. Hermione heard Harry's voice behind her. She felt him grab her hand. She felt the pull behind her belly as Harry apparates them away from the Ministry. They find themselves away from the Ministry. The night sky wrapped over their heads. They walked in comfortable silence, the cold wind flowing around them. Hermione pulled her coat closer to her shivering body. She had been feeling freezing cold lately. Hermione didn't look okay, but Harry didn't push. He looked up and a smile spread in his face. Countless white little snowflakes were falling from the sky, sprinkling all over the place. Hermione laughed. She held out her hands, catching the snowflakes in her palms. Harry smiled as he looked at her. All around them, snow had begun to cover everything it touched. Harry remembered a cold night in the tent. Hermione remembered how, when Harry came back, his hair was covered in snowflakes. With his face flushed, he looked like a snow prince from a fairy tale. Hermione blinked in surprise. Where did that thought come from? She looked at Harry and somehow, again, he was looking like a prince of snow, maybe even better since back then he was tired. Hermione looked away quickly. They started gathering snow, piling it on top of each other. Soon they had a little snowman, though it was missing a nose. Harry laughed. They kept walking, Hermione smiling, looking at the sky. Hermione looked at him confused. Harry smiled as he looked at Hermione. Hermione looked at him for a moment before slipping her hand into his. Sure, the winter last year was cold and bitter. It has changed. Hermione has ways she doesn't even understand yet, but... she couldn't hate winter. Somehow the cold didn't seem quite so bitter when Harry was there. Hermione reached the hotel and remembered with dread that she hasn't told Harry anything about Australia. Hermione hurried towards the door, not wanting Harry to ask questions. Harry called out after her. She turned to him and waved with a smile before entering the building. The next day after work, Harry faced one of the most difficult challenges as he stood in front of Andromeda's home. He hadn't been here since last year, and as shameful it was, he hadn't seen Teddy in a long time. But he's Teddy's godfather. He can't stay away anymore. He took off his invisibility cloak and knocked on the door. A few seconds later, Andromeda opened it. She smiled warmly as she guided him inside. Andromeda went to the little playroom. Harry sat on the couch, placing the invisibility cloak beside him. Andromeda says, as she returns holding Teddy on her hip. He truly looked quite energetic, as he waved his hands and kept babbling, sometimes to himself, sometimes to Andromeda. As she sat, Teddy looked at Harry with his big, curious eyes. Teddy tilted his head, then stretched his arms out to Harry. Andromeda handed the baby to Harry, who held him gently, yet clumsily. She carefully instructs Harry, placing his hand behind Teddy's back. All the while, Teddy kept his eyes on Harry. Harry asked, genuinely concerned. Andromeda laughed. Teddy then turned to Andromeda, and as he did so, his turquoise hair turned jet black, his blue eyes a sliver of green. Teddy giggled as he turned to Harry, babbling to him. Teddy lunged forward and grabbed Harry's glasses. Teddy started playing with the glasses, turning them around, trying to wear them like Harry did. Andromeda takes the glasses from Teddy, and as she gave them to Harry, Teddy scrunched his face like he's about to scream. Harry, who didn't want Teddy to throw a tantrum, gave him the nearest object he could get in his hand. It was his own invisibility cloak. Indeed, Teddy was already enamored by it, stretching it as much as he could. Harry stayed there for another hour before deciding to leave. Yet it seemed Teddy didn't like that as he started whimpering and crying when Harry got outside the door. Andromeda cooed to Teddy. Harry smiled as he waved to Teddy. Teddy giggled as he looked at Harry, his hair again turning black. Harry apparates home and found a strange sight. The hallway was lit with lanterns and torches leading to the living room. Creature bowed as he greeted Harry. Harry went to the living room and found all the lanterns and lamps lit. In the brightness of it all, Hermione was in deep sleep on the couch. She was slumped to the side like she had fallen while sleeping. Harry whispered to himself. Crookshanks strutted towards Harry and rubbed his head against Harry's leg. Harry knelt down and patted him. Crookshanks seemed to like it as he started purring. Harry then carefully picked Hermione in his arms and started walking towards the stairs. As he's about to place his foot on the first step, Hermione moves. She shifted in her sleep, her head coming to rest against Harry's chest while her arms slipped around his neck. Harry was glad that Hermione was sleeping, as she couldn't hear his thumping heart. Heat spread from Harry's cheeks down his neck. At the same moment, Hermione tightened her hold around him, making his heart stumble all over again. He muttered as he stepped up the stairs, trying and failing to calm his racing heart. He steps into the room and lays Hermione down on the bed. She didn't seem very keen to letting him go. Harry gently pulled away, placing Hermione's hands by her side. Harry covers her with a blanket and she curls up underneath it. Crookshanks jumps on the bed, laying beside Hermione. Creature was pleasantly surprised when Master Potter asked him to make breakfast. He usually never ate, but perhaps it's because Miss Granger is here. She certainly needs to eat after waking up. Creature worked faster as he heard hurried steps coming downstairs. Hermione stopped as she looked Harry, her eyes wide, hair dishevelled. Harry greeted. She seemed to be confirming the statement to herself, like she hasn't completely woken up and is confused. She exclaimed as she slumped down on the stairs. Creature announced after he had set the table. Hermione hurried back up to get ready. Harry smiled to himself as he waited. Creature squinted his eyes, unconvinced. Harry gaped, seeing the house elf's attitude. Hermione returned, her hair combed properly this time. She sat on the chair. She started eating, Harry following her. Creature took a sigh of relief. Hermione swallowed another bite of toast.